Hi, welcome to this series of reading with me through my book, Parenting with Purpose and African Wisdom. I'm Dr. Gladys Mwiti. This series, we're looking through chapter 4, which is titled, Parents as Passers of Legacies. Just to remind parents, yes, do not give up. Identify what you want to pass on to your children and do it with purpose. So today we look at the legacy of obedience. And using African proverbs and biblical proverbs, we shall discuss this legacy. How do you pass on obedience to your children? So we use the African proverb, a Kenyan one. I'm not sure from which tribe in Kenya. He who refuses to obey cannot command. Interesting. Another African proverb, I'm not sure from which country, ears that do not listen to advice accompany the head when it is chopped off. Wow, I wish I knew where it comes from. Then there is a biblical proverb, my son, keep your father's commands and do not forsake your mother's teaching. So let's look at the meaning of these proverbs, beginning with the African one. He who refuses to obey cannot command. A reminder that legitimately commanding others is not a right, but a privilege that must be earned through first becoming an adherent to the very demands we make on others. For parents, children watch us very closely to see if we obey what we prescribe. The words cannot command in this proverb do not mean that disobedient parents cannot demand obedience from their children, but that even if they demand it, children will rebel quietly from within. It follows that disobedience has its consequences both for the parent and for the child. This is the central meaning of the second African proverb. Ears that do not listen to advice accompany the head when it is chopped off. Wow. It says that disaster follows the disobedient, and anyone else related to them also suffers the consequences of deliberately refusing to listen, learn, and adhere to the laws of life. This is the warning contained in the biblical proverb. From Psalms 6 verse 20, my son, keep your father's commands and do not forsake your mother's teachings. Parents are instructors to their children on rules that govern living. Indeed, Proverbs 1:23 adds that, like a lamp, these commands light up one's way, and the teachings add more light to the steps of life. When the child is corrected to ensure obedience, there is nothing strange because discipline is the way of life. Anyone growing up without restraint ultimately brings sorrow to his parents. Now, legacy, which is the title of our chapter, assumes that parents have a set of values that they desire their children to adhere to, and that they live by example, modeling what they prescribe. We live in a world where many parents do not seem to have any set of values or morals, making it very difficult for their children to know how to live. Many years ago, a young man was referred to a clinic at Oasis Africa for drinking and running wild. During our sessions, when I asked him how he financed his drinking habit, he related how he had made a habit of blackmailing his father. The young man quipped, my father gives me anything I ask. Whatever I want, he gives me. I asked him, how is that? Because he knows that I know, he answered with a smile. What do you know? I persisted. Let me tell you a story. We had established such wonderful rapport that this man was very free with me and trusted me, and he told me this story. One day, I sneaked out of the house at 3 a.m. in the morning. My brother and I had this habit of creeping out through our bedroom window, crawling over the roof of our apartment, and then scrambling all the way down the drainage pipe to the bottom. We would bribe the watchman to open the gate for us and later let us in when we got back. One day, we left with my brother as usual, and I went to a crowded nightclub and started dancing with my girlfriend. Through the dim lights, I looked across the crowded room full of other dancing couples. Guess who was looking directly at me from across the room? My dad. He was dancing with his girlfriend, a young girl about my age. Our eyes locked for a moment, and then the two quickly melted into the crowd. Mrs. Mwiti, that was several years ago. None of us, neither Dad nor I, have ever discussed that incident. I've never mentioned it to my mom either. However, since then, I make all sorts of demands for money from my father, and I make sure that I ask in my mother's presence. Dad always hands me whatever I want. If he dares hesitate, one look from me reminds him that I know. So you see, I know what I know, and he knows that I know. The point here is that purposeful parenting needs to go beyond supplying children with food, ensuring a roof over their heads, and giving them a good education. Well-parented children are those who are receiving a set of values and morals to live by, and a home is a place where such are ingrained, where such legacies are passed on. Obedience involves role modeling. This is the legacy. Role modeling is a process of a parent clarifying and then living a set of values and morals and requiring the same of the child. Our father narrated this story. His young adult son walked into the house, and the older man noticed that the young man's lips were dry. "Come here, John," he commanded. "Tell me, have you started smoking? I've always warned you never to touch cigarettes." "Those lips are the lips of a smoker." "What if I have?" retorted the young man. "Who asks you when you go out drinking?" The father said that he was shocked into silence. So here we are not advocating for rudeness from children towards their parents. We want to emphasize the need to face the reality that true obedience has to be modeled if it is to be passed on. True obedience should not just be commanded. So that is the legacy of obedience. Keep reading. Get a copy of my book if you don't have one yet, from any bookshop in Nairobi or from Amazon. God bless. See you next time.